Have you ever been on the verge of something great? Like you can feel it happening. All the doors are opening for you. Everything is coming into fruition. Instead of pushing forward, you start procrastinating, making excuses, or suddenly you're just like, I'm not ready. Hi, friend. I say this with all the love in my heart. You might just be afraid of success. Hi, my name is Sam, and welcome to my channel. I'm a self-empowerment coach and a multi-passionate creative. I help people reconnect with their purpose, trust their intuition, and create a life that actually feels good, right? If you're ready to step into your power and embrace your creativity, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. I noticed something about myself not too long ago. I noticed that every time somebody gives me a compliment or they're like, wow, you're really good at this thing, that something happens in my brain where it's like, oh, we got to mess this up. And recently this happened because I had this grand idea that I was going to start streaming games. I love playing video games, right? And I would watch these streamers online and I'm like, oh, that looks so fun. And I really wanted to connect with people. And so I get everything together. I figure out all the tech, everything. And I have my first stream and somebody followed me. And then there were like people there. There were actual people in the stream. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I expected to have crickets. Like, no one's supposed to be here. Nobody's supposed to be here. Sorry. But nobody was supposed to be there. Like, people. So I was like, okay. The first time I was like, okay, well, I'm proud of myself. I did it anyway. So I started following a schedule, and by about week 2, I got a second follower, and I was like, oh. And then there was something in me that was like, there was a voice inside of my head that was like, you know what, this might be doable. Because anybody that knows anything about, social media is like, it's a slow burn, especially YouTube. We can talk about my YouTube, right? First video I post, I got like 3 followers, and I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody said that this wasn't like you would get no views and da-da-da-da-da. And instead of celebrating that, I went into self-sabotage mode. I decided to take a seat, sit my little self down, and figure out what's up with this. Like, where did this start? What happened in my childhood that made me afraid of success, of succeeding? Let's define it. What is fear of success? Fear of success is not only about being afraid of big changes. It's about being afraid of what's required of us if those things happen. After taking a step back, I realized that part of my fear is the expectation that I place on myself to recreate that same thing over and over and over again. So because I got that 1 follower, or because I got those 3 followers from my YouTube video, it's like, oh, now the bar is set high. Now I have to get 5 my next video. Each video I should be getting followers, and that's not necessarily true. Sometimes we got to take a step back and do the things because we enjoy doing them. You can have a hobby and not be good at it. You can have a hobby and not be the best in the world and still enjoy doing it. Sometimes we let those little voices get the best of us. Can you really do this? Or my favorite, who are you? Who are you to give people advice? Who are you to think that you're good enough to do this? That voice. Sometimes we have to tell that voice to shut up. And that is a voice that speaks to me often, that I'm learning to turn off. I promised myself that not only I would come back and be dedicated to my channel, that if I record it, I'm posting it. There are going to be some videos with me rambling. I apologize in advance, but if I record it, I'm posting it, period. After thinking about this for a while, I started to more so lean into what are the signs that I'm doing this? What does this look like for me? And for me, one of those signs is procrastination. I decide that, maybe doing something is too much of a task, right? I'm like, it's too hard. I got to set this up. I got to do that. I got to have the perfect lighting. Well, do I? Do we? Not necessarily. So what I decided to do is to find a place that I can set up, that I can keep it set up so that it's easy access for me, whatever I decide to do. If it's practicing, it's easy access for me, so I can just sit down and practice. I can get past initiating that task. I really struggle with task initiation sometimes. And that's just because my brain has decided that the act of getting started with this thing is either A, boring, or B, too much work. And having that awareness has helped me reframe some of this. I'm still a work in progress, but it's helped me move forward past those things that I've decided for whatever reason it's too much. Another sign for me is that fear of judgment. I went through that pretty tough, and I think that's something that we all can share. I think that's something that we all struggle with, especially if you're in the content creator space, and you're like, what if people see me? And it's like, what people? And if I answer the question, what people, I'm really talking about the people that I know. And to be honest, they're not watching me anyway, really. Because we all know, no one supports you. And this is true. No one supports you like an internet friend, like an internet bestie. And if they are watching, which I do have some friends watching, hi. If the people that I know, these acquaintances, if they are watching, they're not liking, they're not following. They're just absorbing, and they're going on about their business. I had to stop caring about what people potentially thought, because here's this thing that I want to do. I enjoy doing it. Why am I going to hold myself back from it just because I'm afraid of what somebody might think that's probably not watching me anyway? Right? Or something else that I noticed about myself was the feeling guilty for being good at something or outgrowing someone. I find myself in several situations where I just I'm one of those people that can pick up something that they've never done before and be decent at it, be good at it. And I would feel guilty for that, coming in and I'll take ballet, for example. I've had maybe about a solid training, about 2 years. I walked into class and I just took to it. I excelled at it at a rate that's not normal. But at the same time, I almost felt like a fraud because I hadn't been doing it since I was 3 years old. Same thing with playing the piano. It's one of the reasons that held me back from auditioning and going to school for music. I didn't start playing the piano until I was an adult. Now, mind you, I knew how to read music. I had been reading music almost my whole life. I was playing other instruments, but I was like, wait a minute. In 4 years, I was classically trained. And I'm like, hold up. You're supposed to start this when you're 3 years old, 5 years old. I hadn't been playing that long, so surely I can't be that good. You have to learn to stop feeling guilty for excelling at things. And if you are around people who make you feel guilty for being good at things, those people are not your friends. If they're not celebrating your success, they're not your friends. Why are you around them? Get rid of them. Tell them bye-bye. Stop feeling guilty for passing people in life. Sometimes that's what happens. When we grow, sometimes people aren't focused on growth. They're focused on doing the same thing that they do over and over again, expecting a different result. Sometimes we got to leave those people behind so that we can move into who we are meant to be. Now that I've learned these things about myself, right? I'm making a conscious effort to move with more awareness. Okay? I'm taking an honest look at myself and saying, and asking myself the hard questions. Why? Why are you holding yourself back? Why do you feel like you're not good at what you're doing? And I'm sitting with it. That's the important part. I think sometimes we are so afraid to just sit with ourselves. So if any of this sounds like you, ask yourself, take the time to ask yourself the hard questions. Journal about it. Figure out what it is and move with awareness so that when you start to self-sabotage yourself because, something feels too good to be true, you can work to move out of that space because you are keeping yourself from your blessings. You are keeping yourself from your come up, from your glow up, right? And this is the era where we stop doing that, right? We're no longer shrinking ourselves, okay? The fear of success is a sneaky little beast. It shows up as procrastination, self-doubt, and even perfectionism. But the good news is you don't have to stay stuck. You can shift your mindset. You can retrain yourself. You can step into your next level. If any of this sounds like you and you can identify, drop a comment below. Tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me your experience. I would love to hear from you. Let's chat about it. Again, let's hold each other accountable. Okay? If this resonated with you, please don't hesitate to give this video a thumbs up, maybe even a follow. It helps with that whole thing called the algorithm, right? That we're all a slave to. If this is where we part, I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful, purpose-filled